Namaste. If you watched last week's episode, then you know what this week's topic is. And believe me, I can't wait to tell you all about it. But if you didn't have a chance to catch it, well, let me just tell you anyway. Today, we're going to do a deep dive into ghost kitchens, also known as virtual kitchens, cloud kitchens, dark kitchens, delivery-only restaurants. You get the picture. I've got a 2-series episode broken down for you, with part 1 being the pros and cons of ghost kitchens, and part 2 are the 6 different business models that you can implement for your operations. Ghost kitchens. Ooh. What's shaking, folks? My name is Elish P. This is Foodpackaging TV. The first time I heard of ghost kitchens was in a Globe and Mail article a year ago where they featured a restaurateur named George Kotas, who one day, by accident, left their tablet menu open to receive orders online for 24 hours while they were closed. And when he came in the next morning, he had over 40 missed orders. That's when the light came on in his head. That delivery is a big thing. So what exactly are ghost kitchens? One thing for sure, as I mentioned earlier, this concept is known by various other names, but no matter what you call them, they're essentially the same thing, which is a restaurant with no physical storefront. And what does that mean? It means they operate in a commercial and centralized kitchen, and they partner with third-party delivery systems like Uber Eats and Skip the Dishes in order to execute your last leg and distribute your meals. So how do you visit these ghost kitchens? You can. They're restaurants without storefronts, remember? And the only way to consume their products is by ordering them through these different apps that I previously mentioned. Their aim is to specifically focus on mass production. They just want to produce a ton of menu items and service them through these delivery apps. Now, is this something you want to spend your time into? You're going to be the one to decide. But before we get into part 1, let me give you some perspective on ghost kitchens. It is said that the food delivery industry is looking to hit $165 billion by 2024. Therefore, you can say that this concept is at its infancy and the very beginning of this trend or movement of what we're talking about here. So if you pay attention to what's going on, even national chains are starting to experiment with various concept stores, including ghost kitchens. Another interesting to point out is that the former CEO of Uber, Travis Kalanick, has raised more than $400 million for his company called Cloud Kitchens. They've also acquired Dark Kitchens Food, a UK startup back in 2018 that already had over 100 kitchens in their portfolio. They're all optimized for delivery. So you ready for some of this? Just jokes, folks. Just jokes. Let's get started. Part 1, the pros and cons. So the reason why this model is so popular right now and it's super promising is because of the pros. Not owning your own store. There's no need for a physical storefront. There's no need to own the equipment. These virtual kitchens have everything you need. No need to go through any lengthy legal documents for leasing. No long-term agreements that lock you into the space. No need to renovate the place, getting municipality approvals. No pest control and no facility health approvals. The list goes on. And all that's required just for you to operate. Of course, you'll need to get your own business number and food safety certificates to cover your own tail, of course. But otherwise, you can skip all those things. You don't need to do none of this nonsense because you can get into a cloud kitchen facility, sign a month-to-month contract, and you're ready for business. It's that easy, which is why so many people are jumping into this model and why it's so super beneficial to start a restaurant business without the huge capital up costs. Imagine if you had to start your own full-service brick-and-mortar store without knowing surefire that your food would be accepted with repeat orders. Say goodbye to that worry as well. If you have a recipe in mind, you just have to get into business. It's that easy to execute. And lastly, the nice thing is you're not being physically locked down into one location only. We'll discuss that in part 2. You also eliminate the need for the front of house staff, and you don't need to worry about the weather if it's snowing or raining, and that mess that comes in with walk-in traffic. You don't have to worry about it. No worry about cleaning it up, and no liability if someone slips and falls. And guess what? And when it does rain or snow, your business is probably going to rock it. You don't need to worry about paying a premium for a downtown location. No need to worry about customer service, because the food delivery apps will do that all for you. Therefore, you can focus on amazing food quality and efficient production. And if this sounds pretty amazing, well, it is. But now, let me share with you the cons. You're only set up for delivery, which means you have zero visibility on the streets. There's no way to market and promote yourself to walk-in traffic, but that's not why you went into the ghost kitchen concept to begin with. That said, custom branding on your food packaging becomes extremely important to make up for that lost touch point with your brand. You're completely dependent on these food service delivery apps, so think about it. In your business, you essentially have a partner by default. If you are the front-end CEO who has that vision and has the operations handled, then the delivery food app acts as your COO and handles your sales and marketing and logistics. Basically, they're half your business, if not more. Third-party apps can decide to favor other restaurants or can charge you a higher premium for their service. And guess what? You have no leverage or bargaining power with these guys. So essentially, you need them more than they need you. So if they're handling your marketing aspect, then the only thing in your control is when you send out your food packaging. Your packaging will have to do the marketing for you, so spend time on your packaging selection as equally important as selecting the quality food ingredients that you have. Also, make sure you don't rely on one point of distribution. Say you started a concept and you found great success over a 1 or 2 year period. Now, you can think about opening up an actual storefront. So you can diversify the way you go to market and use this as bargaining power. You know what? I got a restaurant down the street. Thanks, but no thanks. And that, my friend, is called leverage. Another major downside is that you don't own your customers, or rather the customer data. The delivery apps own your data. And why would you want to own your own customer data? Well, it's because in the food service industry, actually in any industry, it's all about the people and the community. It's about coming together, developing a loyal customer base that will come back to you over and over again. They enjoy your experience that only you can provide. So many times you go to that special place or that special restaurant to celebrate a milestone, mainly because we have an emotional tie with the owner, or maybe it's the experience, or perhaps it's that insanely amazing consistency of flavor, texture of that dish you just want to share with others. Which is what makes us lifelong customers to these restaurants. And it's probably the most fundamental base to build, is that connection with your customer. Because after all, why do people buy from you? It's because they either know you, they like you, or they trust you. Either one of those. But how do you get to build that relationship with your customer that's only seen your brand on a delivery app? You guessed it, branding. Make sure you are sending out functional and sustainable food packaging, as it's important as the menu items themselves that you're offering. The combination of the correct food packaging, be it material or the size, or even the branding objectives to keep that top of mind awareness with your customer is extremely important, and that's what exactly this business model is lacking. So experiment with your concept. Check it out after a couple of years. If you have a proven track record, maybe you want to take the risk and open a brick and mortar store so you can see your fans face to face. In the meanwhile, make sure you really look at all aspects of the brand that you're building and start with why your brand exists, what message you want to send to your customers, because remember, your packaging is also an extension of your experience. So be conscious of your options. And there you have it, folks, the pros and cons of ghost kitchens. My name is Zilesh P. Thank you for joining me. This is Food Packaging TV. Stay tuned for the next episode where we go into even a deeper dive into ghost kitchens and examine the 6 different business models at ghost kitchens that you can implement. Please feel free to subscribe, like, share, comment, and we'll see you in the next episode. Peace out.